So, as in my previous introduction video of the whole channel revival thing, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about things Japan related. And I thought, what would be a better start than just shortly talk about my trip to Japan in 2019. Hi, my name is Ray, welcome to my place. Thanks to COVID, traveling in the last couple of years hasn't been really easy, and thanks to that I'm even more grateful that I had the chance, the opportunity, and I took the chance and the opportunity to travel to Japan in 2019. We traveled as four. It was me, my girlfriend, her cousin, and a friend of ours who works at the travel agency where we bought the flight tickets at that time. During our first couple of days in Tokyo, we stayed at an Airbnb, and yeah, most of the things we have done in those first days in Tokyo are typical touristy stuff. We visited famous sightseeing points like the Sensoji Temple in Asakusa or the Tokyo Government Building, or strolled around Akihabara, which is the electric town, or let's call it the mecca of anime and manga fans, where it's all about having fun, spending money on anime and manga goods like figures, CDs, all kinds of souvenirs, and electric gadgets, because Akihabara is also known as Electric Town. After Tokyo, we went to Sendai, and some of you might ask, but Ray, what is Sendai? I never heard of Sendai. And you would be absolutely correct, because most tourists don't know about Sendai. And that's why we decided to travel to Sendai, because the usual cities you visit are always the same, and in Sendai we basically haven't seen any tourists or any foreigners for that matter, because usually no one knows about Sendai. Sendai is a city located north from Tokyo, and we went there by bus, and the bus ride took around 6 hours, but it was okay because we had 2 or 3 stops. This time in Sendai we stayed at the APA Hotel or APA Hotel, I don't know how you call it the right way. And besides wandering around the city of Sendai, we booked a free travel guide. Why was he free? Because he was a pensioner. In Japan, you have the opportunity to rent free travel guides, mostly university students or pensioners who have a lot of time and want to show the city to foreigners. So you don't pay any fee, any hourly fee for the time this man or this woman shows you around Sendai, but every time you have to book like a subway ticket or any other tickets, you buy the ticket for them. And also when we were drinking, we bought him the drinks that he wanted to. So yeah, that's how this system works. But it was nice having a local show you around. This man, Mr. Nori-san, had a good time as well, as far as I would tell. The highlights of Sendai were visiting Matsushima Bay, which is the coastline of Sendai, visiting Sendai Castle, and the funniest of all things was Sendai Oktoberfest. Yes, Oktoberfest. Sendai has its own Oktoberfest around the same time when we have it in Germany, and it was pretty fun. It was a big tent with the boxing ring in the middle where the band was playing. They had German food, but also local specialties like beef tongue. Yeah, gyutan. Beef tongue, a specialty of the Sendai region. It's basically beef tongue cut up in small pieces and grilled over fire, which was good. It wasn't the best thing we ate in Japan, but it was good. You can eat it. And what also was fun about this whole event, that Nori-san took the advantage of having 4 real German people with him, and every time Japanese people sat at our table, he was like, "These are real people from Germany, real Germans." Don't mind the fact that 3 of us are half Russian and 1 of us was Italian. That's not the point. But overall, good fun. Highly recommend visiting the Oktoberfest in Sendai. After Sendai, we went to Osaka, and this time by the train, not any train, the Shinkansen. Shinkansen, for some of you who don't know, are the high-speed trains in Japan. I think they travel up to 500 to 600 kilometers per hour, so pretty fast. We went from Sendai back to Tokyo, and from Tokyo with the Shinkansen to Osaka. Also, when you travel by train, you have a very nice view of the countryside, drive along, and when you take the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Osaka, if you sit on the right side of the train, you actually have a chance to see Mount Fuji on the right side. But due to the weather wasn't that amazing, it was pretty cloudy at that time. Unfortunately, we didn't see Mount Fuji at this day. In Osaka, we booked an Airbnb again, and it was a pretty spacious one with one big bedroom, a tatami room, a kitchen, a pretty big kitchen for Japanese standards, a nice bathroom, and this apartment had, I think, 3 or 4 balconies for some reason, but it was okay because the weather overall was pretty warm. We had between like 25 degrees Celsius minimum, but usually it was warmer. And what do you do in Osaka? You visit Osaka Castle, you visit Dotonbori, which is basically a big district where it's all about food, some nightclubs, but mostly food, because Osaka is also known as the kitchen of Japan. And of course, we did some karaoke or karaoke. I think every one of you should know what karaoke is, but in Japan it is like this. You book a room on an hourly basis, and what comes on top is nomi hodai. Nomi hodai is all you can drink. A concept unthinkable of in Germany because Germans drink a lot. But in Japan, nomi hodai is very common. There's also tabe hodai, which is all you can eat. The nomi hodai at this karaoke place where we have been was around 25 euros, so 2,500 yen per person. And you can drink as much as you want and whatever you want. So it's pretty easy to have a lot of fun during your stay at a karaoke place. During our time in Osaka, on one day we decided spontaneously to have a short trip to Kobe, because Kobe, you probably know it from Kobe beef. Kobe is not far away from Osaka, so we made a little day trip. We took a little hike to a waterfall and we're wandering around the nature for a little bit. And also in Kobe, for the first time, we went to Ichiran Ramen. Ichiran Ramen, shortly explained, is a ramen chain, a ramen restaurant chain all around Japan, and they serve Hakata style tonkotsu ramen. Tonkotsu style ramen, shortly explained, is the soup, the broth is cooked out of pork bones, which doesn't sound so appetizing for people in the West probably, but it is really amazing. It tastes absolutely amazing. And since this day, I'm on the search, on my mission to find a ramen restaurant that can match Ichiran Ramen, especially here in Germany, which is pretty hard. There are 2 ramen places in Germany that I've been to, one in Bielefeld and one in Stuttgart, which come very, very close. Very close. After Osaka, we went to Kyoto. Kyoto is all about Japanese tradition. Everything that you consider Japanese culture, Japanese tradition, you can find in Kyoto. And that's why Kyoto is also a must-visit place when you travel to Japan. From visiting Kyoto Castle to the Fushimi Inari Taisha to the Kinkakuji, Kyoto has a lot to offer when it comes to traditional buildings, shrines, temples, all that good stuff. What you also find in Kyoto is the famous bamboo forest, which you probably have seen pictures on the internet. I also took some pictures there, you will see right now on screen. Overall, Kyoto, very, very nice place to visit, but packed with tourists, at least for that time that we have been there. So we've been to Tokyo, Sendai, Osaka, Kyoto, even Kobe are all pretty big cities. There's a lot of things going on and it's very loud and very, like you imagine a big city. That's why after Kyoto, we went to Hakone. Hakone is a small town right in the mountains. It has around 13,000 to 14,000 people who live there, so it's a very small town, but a lot of hikers go there because it is not far away from Mount Fuji. In Hakone we stayed at a hostel, but the special thing is Hakone has a lot of onsen, and this hostel has its own onsen. What is an onsen? An onsen is a bathhouse built around a hot spring. You go there completely naked, you wash before you go into the hot spring, and it's a very, very relaxing experience. Usually in the West, especially in Germany, we know about saunas. I don't like saunas, I don't like hot steam, but a hot spring, the hot water where you go inside, is very relaxing and a very nice experience. You have to get comfortable with strangers being naked around you, and you have to be naked around strangers. But it's okay, since everyone is doing it, no one will look at you weirdly, of course. Why should they? We did a lot of hiking. We were on a boat tour on some sort of pirate ship, where we almost got a glimpse of Mount Fuji. How much of Mount Fuji we've seen, I show you in this video right now on screen. You just could barely notice the shape of the mountain. And after our relaxing time in nature in Hakone, we went back to Tokyo for our last evening and our last day. This time we four separated into groups. Me and my girlfriend stayed at a so-called love hotel. It is exactly what you think it is. It is a hotel made or constructed for adults who go there for a special time. But don't think too much of it. Love hotels have very, very beautiful and unique rooms who have much more space than your typical business hotel, and that's why when you need a special stay for a night somewhere, book a love hotel. You won't regret it. On the last evening in Tokyo, we also visited the infamous robot restaurant. What is the robot restaurant? It is more of a show event than it is a restaurant. You can eat there, but I would recommend eating beforehand. But it is basically a loud and bright show with artists, with music, with robots, and it's a mix of theater and all sorts of weird stuff. I can't really explain it. It's a very unique experience. On our last day in Tokyo, before our flight back home, we visited the Tsukiji fish market. It is named fish market because I think they sell fish there, but you can also buy every other kinds of food and utensils for the kitchen. Or it's basically a big wholesale market for restaurants to buy their ingredients there. And there we ate probably the best sushi you will ever eat. Ever since I've ate sushi in Japan, especially on at the fish market, sushi here in Germany has lost almost all of its appeal. It sounds pretty harsh, but that's the reality you have to face. When you travel to Japan and you eat certain foods and you eat the same foods here in Germany, it won't be as exciting as it used to be before your trip. And our last destination in Tokyo before our flight back home, Tokyo Tower, classic sightseeing place. And at this time they had the One Piece Tower built in. So it's like a little museum, souvenir shop. Everything around One Piece was built inside Tokyo Tower on a certain level. And yeah, you could buy things there, like every kind of souvenirs, t-shirts, noodle soups, snacks, all sorts of stuff. Overall, it was pretty fun. And then the time came, we had to fly back to Germany. So yeah, that was the basic overview of our trip to Japan. If you are interested in any specific details, or if you want to have a video about things I like about Japan or things I want from Japan here in Germany, or any questions, interests about Japan, leave it in the comments. And if I have the knowledge and if I have the capacities, I will make a video about it. So yeah, that's basically it. for this video now. I hope you liked this little video about our Japan trip. So I hope to see you next time when it's all about gaming, otaku stuff, anime and manga. See you next time. It's your boy Ray. Bye.